Sound is half the film. It is something all professional filmmakers know, and something where all beginners make mistakes. Music and sound design can completely change the image and emotion of the film. So pay attention. Music has great power in evoking emotions and creating an atmosphere, so don't feel bad about the time spent finding good music for your film. I like to throw in some music for every scene. In some scenes, it dominates, while in others, it is a quiet backdrop for narration and dialogue. You can create atmosphere for every scene much better and easier using music. Keep in mind, you can only download and use music from no copyright music sites. Sound effects contribute the most in making movies seem real. Sound effects are all those sound bites that aren't speech or music. Those are sounds of water, fire, steps, humming, animals, etc. The more elements and movements in the film we back up with a sound, the richer and more real the whole image becomes. Professional sound designers mark even the smallest details with a sound, like placing a hand in a pocket, or petting a dog, or wiping a nose. We don't really need to consider details such as these, but we should definitely take sound effects seriously to get good results. Of course, exceptions to this are music spots in films made in the style of old silent movies. Those do not have sound effects. It's best to record sound effects on your own using an editing app. The process of recording sound effects on your phone is quick and very fun. Those effects you cannot make on your own, you can probably find on YouTube. For example, if you need a roar of a lion, just type in lion sound effect. You can download these sounds using a YouTube converter. Also, there are sites with free sound libraries available on the internet. Research about them on your own. There shouldn't be moments with no sound in any part of your film. When I make a scene with no music, the first thing I do is record some ambient sound. If the scene takes place outside, I simply go out and turn on the voice recorder so it picks up spontaneous sounds from my yard. Those are usually sounds of wind, dog barks, cars. If the scene is in a house, I wait for the moment when no one is talking. In those moments, you can hear a clock or some machine. If the scene takes place in a restaurant, I record people talking in the background. Ambient sounds can also be found and downloaded from YouTube. I do not really have a lot to say about speech, save for some technical advice. When recording speech for a film, do not hold the microphone too close to your mouth, so you don't end up with ugly hissing with certain vocals. Hold it a bit lower instead. The biggest enemy of good sound in room is echo. Heaviest echo is in a bathroom, and the lightest is in a room with carpets, mattresses, and fabric. They absorb echo, and the sound deflects off of walls a bit less. You can get the best sound if you record yourself while covered in a blanket or surrounded by mattresses. You will also remove echo from your recordings in this way. Also, if you have different characters in your movie, you can try out different voice effects in video editing apps. My process of designing sound for my film most often looks like this. Firstly, in my scenario and storyboard, I think up the dialogue and maybe the type of music in separate scenes. Then I create each scene and splice them together for the first editing draft. Those are simply different shots set in order. Then I add sound to the film, chiefly music and speech. I do this in an editing program because editing apps lack decent sound tools. Only when I add sound, the image of the film becomes complete. Now I can focus on the second editing draft and final shaping of the film. In this process, I decide exact lengths of shots and the pacing of the film. At the very end, when the editing is done, I do sound effects and mouth animation, if it exists in the movie. This is the process I usually use, but sometimes I feel more comfortable doing speech or music at the very beginning, before animation. It all depends on the type of movie and personal taste.